Well, I had this idea. I thought maybe we'd get together and chit chat about photography stuff.
I thought it
And
was a great idea.
yeah, we'll see how it goes. I would love to do a a live stream with it, and something like Hudson Henry does on a Zoom live stream. But that'll be for another time. Maybe we'll kind of decide if we're going to do that or not. But what I'm going to do is I'm recording this in OBS. I'll send y'all a WeTransfer file. You guys can edit it the way you want to and post it on your channels and do what you want with it. Okay, I think that'd be pretty good.
Nice.
Do you have your side set up so that you're seeing all four of us on the screen?
My yes,
Okay,
yes.
because I'm only seeing the one who's talking on my phone. I just want to make sure I was because I don't see what you're seeing. So
Yeah, we all four of you are here. So I think what we should start off with is just for the video purposes, introducing ourselves and where we're from and just a little bit of biography background. So
I got
anybody
I
who's
got one question before we start, if you don't mind.
yeah.
What is a WeTransfer file?
Oh, it's like Dropbox. It's like
Okay, cool.
Dropbox. So I use it because it's easier. And what I do is I just send you a link and you download the file. You know, it'll
yeah,
take.
that's
Oh, cool.
that's for when the file is too big to send through an email.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
Sorry to
So you'll
interrupt.
get
Start
the
over. My fault.
you'll get the full resolution file that way, and then you could edit it the way you want to or do what you want with it. I don't really care. So,
Awesome.
anyways, since David's in my top left-hand corner box, I'm going to start with David and let him introduce himself and tell people. And we're going to start it right from here. I'm just going to say, break. You're live.
Go Vols.
Go ahead. Yeah, I got my cup.
Let's see here. Okay, I'm David. David Sailors, the Georgia photographer. I have a YouTube channel, it's David Sailors. It's easy enough. There's two or three David Sailorses, but mine's the only one that like has more than 5 videos on it. So it's pretty easy to figure out which one's me. I do photography as a hobby, and I guess if you call YouTube a hobby, which it kind of is, um, I am a electronics technician and machinist as far as a vocation goes, and I just enjoy getting out into the world and doing things with a camera. Just get out and photograph stuff.
All
Back to
right.
Ron.
Yes. Well, David, you're from Chattanooga, correct?
Yeah, well, technically Lafayette, Georgia, about
Okay.
what 30 minutes south of Chattanooga, but yeah, essentially Chattanooga.
Yeah. So, okay, my name is Ron Durant, and I live in Crossville, Tennessee, about 100 miles from the other three photographers here. We don't get together a whole lot to shoot, but we do talk a lot. And anyways, I shoot different things. My forte is landscape photography and waterfalls and sunsets and barns and things like that. I do dabble in wildlife, mostly backyard birding, which I really like a lot, and that's mainly what my channel is centered around. And then, of course, there's some camping involved whenever you go out and do certain kind of photography. So I've got some camping videos out there on my channel too. But when we get done, well, we can all put a link to each other's channel in the description for people to find. Phil,
Uh,
your turn.
So I'm Phil, and I like cameras. I like
It's
to
an
play
it's
with
an addiction.
cameras. I like to try to figure out how to make stuff look good with cameras. And I figure the more I practice at it, the closer I get. But I still got a long way to go.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I guess that's me.
You're it,
Uh,
Tim.
yeah. So Tim Childers, I spent the last 23 of the last 25 years in education and retired year and a half ago, June 2nd, 2023 at fourth. No, I have it indelibly imprinted in my head. I do have a photography channel. It's just called Tim Childers Photography, and I've got a couple of other channels. I've actually taken a break from my photography channel for the time being, just so that I can kind of go back out and learn to love photography again without having to worry about whether there's going to be a video out of it or not.
That's an issue sometimes. I go out and I guess I think about the video first, and then I say, well, I'm gonna go do some photography. And I think since I started this stuff a couple years ago, it's taken away from my photography. Um, I enjoy doing videos actually more than I do photography right now, and that to me is backwards. Okay, I think it should be the other way around. So I'm like Tim a little bit. I've had second thoughts about my video production, and I'm going to retire. I'm retiring soon, so I want to do more of my photography next year, and I think the video parts would just be part of it. My channel's not doing anything either, so I mean, I make like $45 a month, maybe, or 35, sometimes 25. And I really don't care about the monetization part, you know. Uh,
It'd be nice though if it, paid you a living.
well, I don't think it can ever. The photography niche is really tough. Okay,
Yeah,
it's really
it really is.
saturated. Uh, you know,
Crowded.
I don't know. I just think sometimes well, it's a little bit sad, really. You know. But yeah, that leads me to one question here. For I had some questions, and actually, I was thinking about you guys, and I really had one. I wanted to start with Phil because Phil and his bird photography and his technique intrigued me. So the question to Phil is this, okay? What is your secret to shooting your wildlife or birds in flight at such a low shutter speed? I mean, what is your secret to that? Because I know a lot of times you are striving for a low ISO, and yeah, especially when you're in your blind at the house, you will shoot like at 1/60th or 1/200th. And I know you're on a tripod, but do you ever do that when you're handheld in 1/60th, 1/200th of a second?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the secret is throw away a lot of blurry pictures.
But that was the second question. What's your keeper rate?
My keeper rate is low. It's very, very low. But it does, the key is that doesn't matter. You can have 500 bad pictures, but if you got one, then that's what you came for. But if you got that one and it's so noisy, I know that everybody talks about the noise software and how, it can fix anything. Well, to me, if you start out with a picture that's not too noisy, it doesn't have to fix as much. And so anyway, that's why I do that. And it's counter to like all the big bird photography people will tell you, oh, who cares about ISO? Just shoot fast and you'll catch that shot. Well, that works for them, but for me, I like to go with a really, really slow shutter speed. As and of course, as the light gets better, I start at daybreak, and at daybreak there's not much light, so I start out with and I just try to keep my ISO at 1,000 or lower if possible, and I'll keep increasing my shutter speed until my ISO,
So your camera, your Z52 is picking up your hand.
Yeah, it's in product mode.
As you're talking, it moves.
Sorry,
it's
I should talk with my hands over here.
It's doing a really good job at focusing.
Yeah, well,
just make sure you talk with your hands level with your face.
Well, but that's the thing about the Z52.
Yeah,
it has product mode. It'll catch the product when it's way over here. I don't have to have it in front of my face.
So is that an automatic feature of that camera, or you got to turn that on?
Yeah. It is an automatic feature that you have to turn on.
Okay,
and you can turn it off.
Okay, because I'm going to say, how does that affect your bird photography?
Well, it's only in video. It's only in video.
Oh, only in video.
That option is only for video.
Well, that's a good thing. You mentioned noise, okay, and noise software. in shooting high ISOs. I tend to shoot fairly high ISOs when it's low light. I mean, I'm talking about, well, for me on a D500, high ISO is 3200. Okay, because
I agree.
the camera doesn't handle it very well after that. What I've noticed is when I do use denoise software, there's a problem. The AI of the denoise software does a fairly decent job, but then it starts making things up. Okay, I've tried the Lightroom denoise. I've tried the Topaz denoise, same image, to see which one is doing what. And what I found is the Lightroom denoise is actually doing a better job than Topaz. I'm
Really
still
interesting.
Yes. And I did watch a video by Steve Perry about this. Okay. And he did some testing with DxO Prime, Topaz, and Lightroom denoise. And he also noticed that there was a lot of things being made up, especially in feather detail. You'll see maybe the eye is sharp, but then right behind their head, or across the tuft or something, you'll see things that are just kind of ghosting, what I call made up.
Yeah. Seeing you're making my point for me. That's why I use the low shutter speed to try to keep that ISO low. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that was the reason for the question, because I wanted to know. I have actually, tried reducing my shutter speed to stop some of the high ISO problems. Now, when I'm shooting with the Z8, you can go up 12,800 and make it look good. Or I have anyways. I mean, it's not nearly as bad as a D500, but
Yeah.
anyways. Tim, did you want to ask that question, or do you want me to ask the question you sent me the other day?
I don't mind asking it.
Oh, you go ahead. Tim had a question the other day. We were talking about some things, and I said, well, that'd be a good question for tonight, Go
Yeah,
ahead.
this may stop the production right here.
Oh, I don't think so. It's a big question. No?
It's easier for me because I have limited resources. But my question that I posed to Ron was, if you had to choose just one camera body and one lens, and that's all you could shoot with the rest of your life, what's it going to be?
I bet David can answer.
I told you it was going to get quiet.
We got to think about that for a minute.
No,
okay?
I didn't have to think. ZF and 51.8. That'd be what I'd pick, because I'm just going to tell you the truth. I love the Leica cameras. They're wonderful machines, but I can take now this. If you'll notice, this battery is white. This is that Viltrox battery.
Oh, cool.
I can shoot almost all day on I shot 950 pictures, and that was recording a RAW and a JPEG to the cards. And well, I only recorded to one card. I didn't double record, but I changed this battery just because it got down to the red bar. It hadn't even went all the way depleted, and that was probably 30 minutes before we stopped.
Look
These
how
batteries
your peak design tabs are hanging. I like I like your peak design tabs. You've got one on the bottom of the camera.
Yeah. I run the wrist leash.
Yeah, me too.
And
yeah, I do too.
That's why there's one on the bottom. But yeah, or maybe I was neck strapping it sideways. I don't remember. I had the one on the bottom for a reason one day. But that battery life, their power management is incredible. I mean, I'd have went through 3 or 4 batteries in that SL2. It would have been just incredibly bad.
So you're using a Viltrox battery in your ZF?
Yeah, it's an ENEL15C made by Viltrox.
It's not a Nikon branded battery.
No, look. Let's see if I can. It's going to be hard to see, but I
don't have
USB-C
port.
Yeah, let me see if I can zoom in on this.
Viltrox battery. Interesting.
It's hard to say. There it is. Is it readable or is it blurry?
Yeah, it's okay. I can see it's white.
Yeah,
but I can see the port.
Yeah. You charge it with a USB-C cable right on the battery. You just plug it in. That's another reason I like them, because you don't have to take a charger with you. You just need a cable.
What's the MAH on that on the label there? What's it say?
Milliamp hour, 2400.
2400 even?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, hey, look, y'all. I'm wearing a dress shirt and pajama pants.
Don't worry, Dad. I did all the time. At least you're wearing pants.
Yeah. Well, did you say it's 2400, David?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the stock Nikon ENEL 15C is 2280. So there you
It's
go.
a little hotter. Yeah.
Don't look
These
at my
are
pajama
great
pants.
batteries.
But the ZF might not take as much battery power as some of these, like the Z8s and the Z7 IIs, the higher end Nikon cameras. It might not take as much battery power.
Yeah, I don't know. But I know their power management's insane. I got 4 batteries and I never carry but 2.
So you haven't had that ZF very long.
No, few months. I traded Randall Brander, a guy that's a subscriber to my channel. I traded my big Leica zoom lens. He wanted it, and we done some trading, and he sent me this. I got the 105 f2.8 f mount. He sent a whole bunch of stuff.
Is that the macro lens?
I don't think so.
I think it is. It's the VR, I bet. Is it the G? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a macro lens.
Yeah, it's micro Nikkor. It is. Yeah.
That's a great lens. Of all the lenses I've sold, I regret selling that one the most.
Really?
Yeah.
I have yet to mount it. It's in beautiful shape.
Don't get rid of that lens. You'll love it.
But yeah, it's on the list to be shot with and reviewed and all that sort of jazz. But
so that 50 that's on your Desert Island kit, I ordered one. It'll be here tomorrow. It's on sale 200. It's on sale 200 off right now.
I bought this one from, which one was it? The MPB. They had these in like new condition. 60% of new, maybe. It was $400, $450 or something like that. It was cheap.
They're $429 brand new right now. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. And it's
but you still got your Leicas.
Oh yeah, they're both right. There's one. The other one, I don't know where the SL2's at. It's in here somewhere.
But right now, your favorite one's the ZF.
Yeah. The whole point of this camera was for travel, because I was taking the little CL and the 35 millimeter prime, and it's not weather resistant. And I got caught in England and I almost got it wet in a rainstorm. So I went on
in England.
Right. So I went on the hunt for a weather resistant travel camera. And when this thing come out, I was just like, dude, I'm in love with the vintage aesthetic.
Are those Leica cameras expensive?
Eye-wateringly expensive.
I don't know. I've never priced one.
The SL2, I paid $4,500 for it used.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
no lens, just a body.
No, the 50 millimeter Summicron, the 50 millimeter f2 was another, I think, $4,000.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
I wonder why.
When Phil joked about he invited me and Ray to come shoot his ring proposal to Heather, he's like, I asked a couple of guys with a couple of $10,000 camera rigs to come shoot it. He wasn't kidding.
I didn't ask you to come shoot it. I just said, hey, y'all want to go take some pictures? And then
that was his way.
I love it. I love it when
I'm this dense. I didn't put it together. Ray showed up and he's like, you know what we're doing, right? And I was like, well, we're going to take pictures. He's like, dude, Phil's going to propose. I was like, how do you know? He's like, didn't you read between the lines? Ray was like zeroed in, buddy. He knew exactly what was happening. I was like, no, duh.
Yeah, when somebody in the family asked me to start or hints around at taking pictures, I just kind of not me.
Yeah, we had a good photo walk that night, though. It was a good photo walk.
Oh, we had a wonderful time. Yeah. And that was before Heather got her, was it her knee or ankle? Knee. She got her knee fixed. She was having trouble walking, and she still stuck it out and was like a trooper. And we had a good time.
She's tough, that girl. She is something. Okay,
Dude.
who's going to answer the desert island question next?
I didn't. Why don't you know what are you talking about? Because I don't know anything about Desert Island.
The
Is that a video I
one
missed?
camera and lens for the rest of your life that
Oh,
Tim
that
asked.
one. Okay.
I just converted it to desert island.
Oh, I got you. Okay, that's cool. Okay. Well, I'll answer it. Okay. It would be the camera that I used to have. Okay. It's not the camera that I have now. It'd be the camera I used to have. But
Not the Sony.
no, not that one. No. I'm gonna tell you something. I actually have had a lot of thought about this on my own without you asking the question. But I've gone back through my Lightroom catalog and I have looked at my photographs. I've done a filter on a camera body that I used to have, maybe a D7100, a D7500, even a D5500 I had, or something like that, D1X. And I think there was a time where I was producing some really good landscape photography. Uh, that edge is not there right now mainly because of work and stuff. But back around 2018, I was out a lot, hiking and what have you. And the D7500 was probably my favorite camera. Now, not too long ago, I picked up a D 7100, is it? Yeah, 7100, from Murphy's on their used lot. And I didn't give a lot for it. I think I get $350 for it, but it had like a 6,000 shutter count on it. So
Wow.
it's very similar to the D7500, except it doesn't have like the flip screen and a few other things. And the sensor's different. It has a 24 megapixel sensor versus a
I think
20.
that's Toshiba or something. It's a real good sensor though.
It's a different make. It's made by Toshiba. But anyways, that camera, well, not that camera, the D7500 with the 12 to 24 f4 Nikon lens, AFS, was my main shooter. I shot it all the time. I love the camera. I love the body. It's why I like the D500 so much because they're very similar in weight and girth. Uh, that was probably my favorite camera, and I don't have it anymore. But here's what I was going to say. I messed up. About a month ago, Nikon puts out sales every week, and if you're on their email list, you get them. About a month
I get
ago,
'em.
yeah. Well, about a month ago, they had a sale in their refurbished store. Okay, they do that about once a month. And in the refurbished sale was two things that I wanted, and I didn't buy either one of them. One of them was the 50 to 250 Z50 kit lens. It was refurbished for like 150 bucks. Okay,
Wow.
it might have been 200 bucks, but they had a D7500 in the refurbished for like 475, and the new ones are still selling for $900. And I should have bought another D7500, but I didn't. You know, so that's me. The camera. My favorite camera is the one I used to have. Right now, the camera I use the most is a D500. I carry it to work with me. It's sitting on my dresser near my bedroom window. Lens side down, always ready to go. It was about 3 o'clock this afternoon. The sun had popped out from the clouds and was, side lighting, downward lighting, really nice warm lighting, and I shot some bird pictures out there. So that's me. As far as the new technology, I'm still struggling with it. Okay. The Z8, I'm having a lot of issues with hits. Maybe I'm not so bad. If Phil was talking about his keeper rate, my keeper rate's pretty low too. But the focusing systems, they've gotten so complicated and complex. And I don't, I'm a person that likes to take charge of my camera sometimes. And sometimes when I'm watching that box jump around and it might be green, it's not green, it's white. I don't even know what all that means. And I feel like I'm doing something wrong with that. So like, AFC, autofocus continuous, back button focus, you got your finger on the button the whole time. You're not really letting off of it. And okay, yeah. What's that mean? You want to talk?
That means I have a suggestion for your Z8.
Hit it.
In the menu, somewhere it says subject to detect, and you can have people, birds, planes,
Yeah.
trains, automobiles, snails, whatever. It doesn't have snails, but say none. Switch that to none, and then in your focus area, switch it to a single point. Bingo, and you've got a D7500.
He's going to do that right now.
I'm gonna look. Focus.
Because it will. I call it when the box is bouncing around and there's multiple boxes. And this is not with Nikon. This is with Nikon, Canon, Sony, any of them that I've used. When there's all the boxes, I call that the squares of confusion. That's when the camera has no idea what to focus on. And in that situation, you need to tell it. And the best way to tell it is to turn off subject detection and set your focus area for single point. And
Yes.
move that single point around and put it right where you want it. Of course, now that's not going to help you too much for birds in flight, but for other situations.
Well, I'm not a birds in flight person. I will shoot them, but I'm a perch bird, or I'm walking around shooting birds out of a tree, or what they call birds on a stick, that kind of stuff. So
Love me some birds on a stick.
most of my focusing is 3D.
Oh yeah,
3D bird detect. I got a 3D and bird detect, and I'll use the custom box, draw down to a point, like a single point, because if you set the custom box like that, then it can do both things. It'll do a regular single point focus, or if it detects 3D the bird, it'll start following the bird's eye. Have you ever seen that? That's how I usually shoot, and I have more luck with the 3D. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that later. And now they got.
So we know what camera you're going to keep, but you never talk about a lens, buddy.
Oh, the lens. Okay, that is a no-brainer. Okay, it's the Nikon 500 PF. Okay, that is the lens. Okay,
but what about landscapes?
I was going to say, you're going to do waterfalls with a 500?
Oh,
From
landscape.
way over there.
Well, landscape
What about street photography?
From way over there.
So
You only get one lens, buddy. You can't have a lens for every type of
okay.
photography. Just one lens.
Okay. So I guess if I'm shooting with the D7100 or the D7500, it would be the 12 to 24. Okay. That would be my
now
choice.
we're up to that's 2 lenses though.
That's 2 lenses and 2 camera bodies. I mean, come on.
Oh, I
That
got to
wasn't
get
the question.
It's your question, Ron.
No, it wasn't my question. It was Tim's question. All right. See you later, honey. No, that was my wife leaving.
I thought you were saying bye to your camera.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get on. Oh, wait. Let me get on MPB. Let me get on MPB and see how much a Z8's worth. You guys are gonna make me want to sell everything tonight,
Hey, whatever they tell you, I'll match it.
Yeah. You give me $1 more?
Yes, sir.
Right now.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna sell that camera. Okay, so I have to take everything I said back. My favorite camera that I don't have anymore, that I really did enjoy using a whole bunch, okay, was my Z6 II. Okay, that was a nice camera. I felt really at home with it. When I switched from digital, when I switched to mirrorless, that was my mirrorless switch, and I felt really at home with it. The file sizes were perfect. The computer didn't labor at things when you're trying to do stuff. And the 14 to 30 lens, okay, on the Z6 II. That was the dog right there. So that was my favorite camera of recently. And I wish I still had it. I wish I still had the ZC. I used it for everything.
You had two.
I had two of them. I put it on the stand back here and videoed with it. Okay. I shot basketball games with it. Phil even told me how to do the basketball games with my 70 to 200. So that was my favorite one with the 14 to 30 wide angle.
I think one of the things about this question is
Oh no.
that it really makes you think about what is it I really want to do.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like with Phil, if his thing is bird photography, he's obviously going to go with some kind of long telephoto lens that's his favorite on whatever camera body he likes. If you're doing waterfalls, you're obviously going to go to something that's wide angle. So it really, I think for me at least, it really makes you sort of drill down to say, if I only have one camera and one lens, what is it I'm trying to do with that? Where's my real passion at? And you know, for me, I'm kind of like David when he was looking for his travel camera, because that's really what it boils down to for me at this point. I'm not doing a lot of hiking out the waterfalls. I suck at bird photography. It's never going to be a thing for me. But I do like to just go someplace and walk around and explore stuff and look around. And, you know, I can do that with the R6 Mark II, which for my purposes is a perfectly fine camera. But I would be torn between probably the 35 macro or the 24 to 240 telephoto. I'd have to really think about those two things. And I'd probably go with the telephoto because anything close up I get with my phone.
The phone photography, you know, well, I don't know. I guess I never really tried really hard at phone photography, but to me, you know, being around DSLRs and you know 35 millimeter most of my life, it doesn't feel natural to shoot with a phone. And then, you know, if you're out making some money and you're a wedding you're a wedding photographer and you shoot
the phone's not going to work for that,
bro. They're gonna say, wait a minute, we could have done that. We didn't need to hire you.
But yeah, I mean, and again, I don't want to get in Phil's way from answering this question, but again, for me, when I'm out doing those kinds of things, I'm looking for like interesting shapes or interesting shadow. I'm not thinking about what's this going to look like if I print it 4 feet wide. You know, it's just going to show up on Instagram or Vero, and I could have a 6 megapixel lens and, you know, sensor and still wind up with something that's going to look decent on a phone. Mm-hmm. People are scrolling through on their phone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. This is true.
2 megapixels would be bigger than most phone screens.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, the Nikon D1X was the first, well, the D1, but the D1X was a predecessor that Nikon came out with. That's what I had. It was a 2 megapixel camera, and I shot weddings for a whole year with a 17 to 35 2.8. And that camera.
Got beautiful photos, didn't you?
They paid me.
Right.
You know, and we weren't doing digital. We didn't have Facebook back in 1999 like that. We didn't have Instagram. They were actually,
no, it had to be printed. Yeah.
They were actually looking at a proof book and actually asking for prints,
mm-hmm.
you know, which I pumped out on an Epson 2200. Okay. All day long.
Nice.
And those prints stand up to time. I've got some Epson 2200 prints here at the house that you can't tell that they weren't printed yesterday. And those are over 25 years old. Bill, your turn.
I got my answer.
Okay. He waited till all of us. Now he's got his answer.
Well, you know, it's good that we saved you for last because you're the one with the most different kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and really up until about 3 or 4 minutes ago, my answer was there's no freaking way. And then I remembered that Nikon just came out with a 28 to 400. So maybe that would be that and a Z8, and maybe some extension tubes so I could do macro with it.
You think your bird photography would falter because of the 28 to 400? You think you can make that work?
I could make it work, but it wouldn't be as good. It would, I mean, all of it would be a compromise for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the nice thing about it is none of us have to do this.
Amen. Amen.
But maybe some of us should do this.
But, you know, but David.
Well, you know, I mean, out of everybody, I'm probably the one that has culled down my equipment probably more than anybody. And I may cull a little more before it's over. Because the type of photography that I'm doing is not, it just doesn't require me to have so much variety of stuff. And I thought I needed a f2.8 for everything I was shooting, and come to find out most of the time I'm on a tripod and I'm shooting at f11. So, it's one of those things that I'm just trying to get back to. I don't want to get rid of so much stuff that I got to spend thousands of dollars to put it all back, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, pretty much, I have the 10 to 20. I've got the 15 to 35. Both of those lenses I love. I've got the 28 millimeter prime. I got a 35. I got a 50, and I got the 70 to 200 and the 24 to 240. Those are the lenses I have.
And one camera body. And one camera body.
Well, I still got the USR, but I'm only doing that for video. I record all my videos, so it never comes off that tripod. So for photography, the R6 Mark II is the only camera body I have.
So do you feel like
what lens do you use on the R for video?
The 15 to 35.
Cool.
So this is going there. I want f2.8.
Is that the chunk? Is that the chunk?
Yeah.
I'm selling the chunk tomorrow.
The chunk's gone.
Yeah, and I'm selling this tomorrow. The 200 to 800 is going by tomorrow.
I figured you was going to get rid of that. I seen that one coming a couple months ago when you did that video. When you did that video comparison, I said Phil's going to get rid of that lens.
Yeah, I mean, I look over at, the crazy thing is more people tune into videos with that lens than any other. That brings them in like a moth to a flame. And what happens is if you buy this lens, you burn like a moth in a flame because it doesn't make sharp pictures.
No. When I had mine, I wasn't happy with, well, the other one, I'm not the 200 to 800. I had the 200 to 600, didn't I? The Sony.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with that lens.
Phil, I got the answer. It's a simple solution. When you get into Lightroom, you draw a little circle around the blurry bird and you use generative fill.
Oh, man.
I have to try that.
Turn you into a bird photographer right quick.
Yeah. Better do it while it's free. But
back to that desert island lens, David, as long as I've known David, he's always been a camera and a 50. That's what he likes. Now, it might not be 50 millimeters. He might be on an XT3 and he's got a 50 that's 75, but he uses other stuff, but it's usually a camera and a 50 or something that's equivalent to 50, which is awesome. I envy the lack of need for so many lenses.
Well, there's the question right there, David. How many 50 millimeter lenses do you own?
Now, are we counting actual 50s or derivative?
Whichever way you want to count them.
Like this 35095 on the CL is equal to 50 because that's how I shoot it. Probably on the order of 18 or 20.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not. There's so many. Dude, that cabinet has I have plastic divider trays with latching lids that are full of 50 mils.
Are they color
Hell, I bet
coded?
I've got more than 10, and I've got another one coming tomorrow.
Dude, I have so many 50s. Dude, I got them by Minolta and
You got zero.
Yashica
I've
and
got a Minolta. I've got a Minolta. I've got two Nikon. I've got a
you got that Yashica unless you got rid of it. You
yeah.
had
No,
one
I
too.
still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at so many 50s. And
That'll
Ron
be
don't have any.
that. Yeah, I don't have it. That'll be the next video. We're gonna make a list of equipment. You're gonna hold it up in front of the screen.
My arm ain't strong enough.
Going to need a wide angle lens for that one.
David, David will be back in the corner of his room with that red light is holding it up like that. You got that many 50s.
Oh, dude, it's easily. I haven't counted them, but it's probably at
So
least 20.
it's safe to say that's what you like to shoot with.
Yeah.
I've
And
just never, I've never been a
what's sad
prime guy.
is I can't visibly tell the value difference between this and that $4,000 Leica F2. From what I can see on a computer screen, even zooming in, the quality of this 50 mil is just as good. Like
Well,
they
that's
measure
what
it.
that lens is famous for.
Yeah, they measure them to some kind of ludicrous ability, but your human eye can only see so good.
Okay,
You
if I
know,
was looking for a 50 millimeter, what kind would I be getting?
the 51.8S, this thing is
Oh,
beautiful.
the Nikon lens.
Yeah,
Yeah, not the 1.4 because it's garbage.
right.
And
The
the
1.2
1.2
is wonderful, but it
the 1.2
weighs
is
like
great,
40
but it's
pounds.
$2,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
do you feel like that lens and camera body combo is shoots or produces a photograph just as good as the Leica?
it produces different. They're both on an incredible level. You get more keepers. The focus system on the Nikon's better.
Is the weight
Oh yeah, Phil, it is. There's no arguing that.
is the weight about the same? Is the weight about the same?
No, this thing, even with this small rig grip, probably weighs 2/3 of what that SL2 does. That thing, it's battle worthy. I mean, they make it overkill on the durability on the SL2. It's real heavy.
So why would you keep the Leica then over this ZF?
Because I like it. I mean, that's literally the only reason. I get it out and shoot with it. It coupled with a simple adapter to this 50 millimeter or 105 millimeter F2 DC Nikkor. This is the one me and you was talking about today, Phil.
Yeah.
This lens on the SL2 produces some of the most beautiful photos I've ever taken. This is just it's just magic. And yeah, I love that combination. I keep them for that reason.
Well, can that lens do the same on the ZF that it does on the Leica? Produce a beautiful.
No, I used it and it don't look the same.
It don't look the same.
The color science Leica has, because I shoot mostly, like if I do these things, it'll be JPEGs out of the camera because I don't want to spend time editing all the RAWs. So out of camera JPEGs out of the SL2, and it has center stabilization. Just listen to us too, but this thing is just magic on that camera for me.
Yeah.
I just love them. And the 50 mil takes beautiful photos. If I'm doing urban photography, walking around Chattanooga and taking photos, that system works great. It's heavy, but it takes great pictures.
Yeah. So that brings me to a question for you, David, is how long do you typically take to do a photo walk that you do? Not doing not for videoing, not for your videos, but if you go out and say, okay, today I'm not even going to take my video rig. I'm just going to go out and do a photo walk with my camera. How long do you typically go out and do that for?
If I don't have at least 2 hours on location, I don't even bother going. It's a waste of, yeah, I need at least 2 hours, typically 4. For me, if I don't get at least 6 miles in, then I haven't, it's like I don't know, it's something mental about it. I want that time to be able to, like, I want to walk up on the scene and stand there 5 minutes. I don't want to just have to
watch it materialize.
Yeah, I want to have time to just kind of be there. And
yeah.
So yeah, if I'm rushed, I just put the camera down and not go.
Yeah. So do you, for that walk, do you do any pre-planning or pre-prepping at the house, or where does the idea come in? Do you just say, "Oh, I remember this place. I'm going to go over there for a while"?
I get two batteries, this, get out of the truck, lock it, and go. Typically, if I'm in downtown, I will normally park somewhere around Main Street and I'll walk to the river, cross over to the North Shore, and come back. And I'll take a different way coming back that I took with going down. I might come down Market and go up Georgia Avenue and then go over to the Walnut Street and across it, back over the Market Street Bridge, maybe wander over to Chestnut and come down Carter and that way. Um, or
I've been on
something.
one of those walks.
Yeah, yeah.
Are
So
you
it's Phil. Phil has to.
are you
Phil
shooting?
likes to get the miles. He's not ashamed to walk a bunch of miles.
He's got the Skechers.
Yeah.
He can do it.
I ain't got my shoes in here. I have a pair of running shoes. I don't remember the brand name on them.
So you
I
don't want to
wore
bring
the sole completely off of them.
no hiking boots with David. Bring tennis shoes.
Yes, you bring walking shoes. We're going to cover some distance.
Yeah. Do you do when you're out doing that your photography? Do you do a lot of stealth shooting?
Nah, you can ask Ray Soldano. I think me and him and Phil was joking about that a few days ago. Me and Ray had went on a photo walk a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and I was just walking up to people. Phil will do this too. He's the one that kind of got me to doing it. Was that I just walk up to him and was like, "Hey, can I make your street portrait?" And it just stresses Ray out. It's hilarious. He's like,
Why does it stress him out?
I don't know, but he likes to he likes to be like, I don't know if stealth's the right word because he's got this huge Z9 with the 51.2 and a backpack of lenses. He's not very stealthy, but he doesn't like to intrude on people. He wants to take photos without getting, in their life and, just do his thing and they do their thing and he takes his pictures and goes on about his day.
Well, he's probably
And
looking for that natural reaction and not a, not a
maybe
pose,
so.
you know.
I was just asking people for street portraits that had like cool hats or whatever. It was funny, but I won't do that a lot because most of the time, if I'm wandering downtown, it's a Tuesday afternoon and there's nobody there. I might see six people because and that's business people walking around downtown going somewhere, and they're in a hurry. You can see they're on their phone and they got their little briefcase and they're on a mission. But
That's
on
the
them,
people I like to shoot.
yeah, I mean that if you can catch them doing something interesting, just walking down the sidewalk isn't real interesting to me anymore. I've got a hard drive full of them. I thought about your offer, Ron, about sending the archive to you so you could catalog it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to do that, but
I take a look at it first. I'm pretty good at cataloging things, but yeah, I remember that. I remember that conversation. It's on one of your live streams, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah,
I think it was. Yeah, but well, I asked that question for a reason because for a couple of years now, and mainly it's been from being around you guys, that you have such a great city to do street photography in. And I live up here in the backwoods, and I'm limited on what we have, especially in Crossville. Now I can go down to Harriman, and I've already walked it twice, and I've seen it all. Okay, so
mm-hmm.
in order to go and do anything, I'd have to go to a big city like Knoxville or Nashville or somewhere big.
Maryville's not far from you, is it?
No, it's the same distance to Knoxville. It's an hour.
Oh,
It's an hour. But street photography or just that kind of photography, walking around photography, I guess you could call it too, not really street photography. I get a kick out of that. The the 3CT organization, which is the Camera Council of Tennessee, it's a organization where the 14 or 15 camera clubs in the state have a centralized place, and then twice a year they do an event in the spring and in the fall. So this fall, they asked me to lead the event, and we were going to do. I was going to do the state park. That's what we was going to do, and they turned it around, and we did more. We did the Scott Kelby thing in downtown Crossville, and Ann Barber from Oak Ridge or Clinton, Oak Ridge area, she was the organizer of that. There were 28 photographers that showed up that day. That was impressive to me, first off, okay? From all over. There was guys from Maryville, there was some from Brentwood, Nashville area. They just all
Wow.
drove here. And we met in downtown Crossville and did this photo walk. Now, I had been in Crossville a lot because I live here, so I knew a lot of, what we were going to do. And they just kind of, they kind of asked me. I said, "Look, if you go over here, there's some pretty good stuff that way. If you go that way," I said, "but whatever you do, get 2 or 3 blocks off of Main Street. Don't stay on Main Street. Go off of Main Street. That's where you're going to find the interesting things." Well, I just took off on my own. I headed over to the fire department because they got some neat displays over there, and I met up with a few of them over there. I had a great time, but going out and doing that kind of photography just on the street. Now, I'm not a I'm not a person photographer. Like, I don't want to do that. Okay. I don't want to have to ask somebody for their permission. I have shot people. Well, let me take it back. I have photographed people, not shot people. I have photographed people from a distance. Okay. And when I come home and look at my photographs, a few of them you can tell they were aware you were photographing them because they were looking at you. Okay. They seen you.
Busted.
Well, most of mine is event stuff. Like, I'll go down to car shows downtown where there's a lot of people and it's not a big issue. One of the reasons for getting the Z50 and now the Z50 Mark II was for its size. Okay.
Mhm.
The size is perfect. You put that 16-50 on there and it's just a little bitty thing and it shoots a great photograph. Okay.
Mhm.
So I want to do more of that. Okay. I want to get out and walk more. And I'm going to come down there after I retire, which is coming up okay, you want to know how long it's going to be? Less than 48 hours.
Oh,
Wow.
we're short timer.
Plan on getting out more. I'm going to come down and I'm going to go on one of them 6 mile walks with you. Okay.
Dude.
Because I do watch your videos and I watch Phil and Tim when he was doing his, but I do watch the videos of you guys down there. And it's not, I may not come home with a whole lot of good images, but I'm sure I'll come home with one. Okay. And to me, it would be worth the day to go do
Yeah.
that.
That's all you need is one.
Yeah. That's all you need is one, you know?
I've
So,
gotten to the point to where if I come home with a corrupted memory card, it was still a good day because I got to spend it with somebody that was fun to spend the day with.
yes, yes. And I
Yeah.
think that's important when you're out there. If you're enjoying the day and you're
Hmm.
talking about things, you're laughing about things, and I think that's important, the last couple.
The pictures are just icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a hard drive full of them, but I got some street pictures, and I go back.
One?
No, I got more
I
than
have a
one.
stack of hard drives.
I got more than one.
I bet Phil does too.
I got a
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah. Anyway, that was just a question I had for David there on
I
there.
got a question for Phil.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, you wrote it down.
Yeah, well, I had them write them down so I wouldn't forget because I had one for each of you. And the question I had for Phil was, how many camera bodies do you currently have? And the reason I ask is because I know you keep your older ones most of the time. Like they're kind of sentimental to you. So I've always wondered, how many do you have?
Go
Could
ahead,
you
I'll
talk-
keep track. Go ahead, I'll keep track for you.
okay, let's see. I've still got the Canon M50, which I bet Tim might have that too.
No, it's gone.
Oh, he decluttered that thing. Okay, so the Canon M50, I've got the Canon R7 and the Canon R6 Mark II. So that's all of them. And Nikon will take a while. I've got the D800, D500, D850, Z6, Z8, Z50, Z50 Mark II. I think that's it.
That's
I think that's
one,
all of them.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's got 10.
Oh, double figures.
Was there any Sonys in that list?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I forgot the Sony. I forgot the A6700. Let's call it 11.
There you go. 11. uh,
I
that's
told
it's
you at the
interesting.
start that I like cameras.
Well, it's interesting you keep it's interesting you keep your your older bodies around. You know, even though you got like a D800, but you also got the D850. You know,
I
aren't they
tried to
both?
sell you my Z6 for nothing and you wouldn't take it.
You know what turned me off about the Z6? Not your Z6. The Z6 is
Uh-oh.
is because it only took an XQD card at the time, and I wasn't CF Express. The XQD cards were like what $300 back
Yeah,
then.
they were
You had
high.
you had to have a reader, and I actually looked at the Z6, but
But I
then
was throwing one in.
I waited. Okay, I waited, and then when the Z6 II came out with UHS2s, and there was about three things that made the difference. Okay, cost wise,
Yeah,
and I
that
said,
makes sense.
The whole time I had my Z6, I downloaded from the cable on the camera. That's how I got the pictures out of it because I never had a card reader either for that thing.
I can't get the raw files out of my Z50 Mark II yet.
Ooh.
Well,
Lightroom
not
Classic works with them.
no, it does not. What? I just checked tonight. There's no update. My Lightroom Classic don't work with it.
Mine does. Mine worked the day I brought mine home.
What in the
And
world?
I've had people in the comments say the same thing, but
You're
I
shooting
promise it
raw.
works.
You're
Yes,
shooting
sir.
raw.
Yes, sir.
He
Your
always shoots
Lightroom.
raw files.
You know, you're using the classic, not the cloud version. You're using the one on your
Yeah.
computer.
Yes, sir.
I just shot some pictures tonight at work. I shot a hawk today with the 50 to 250 lens in the snow,
Oh, wow. Cool.
and I wanted to see what it looked like.
Well, don't delete it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You know. But,
So if we have time, I've got a question for you guys. I don't know if we have time.
oh, we got time.
Okay, well, here's my question. What is your favorite genre of photography? Or let me say that a different way. What genre of photography are you known the most for? And is that currently your favorite?
Tim, you go.
Well, I'm probably known in the last year for what I call urban photography rather than street photography because I rarely ever have any people in my pictures. I purposefully avoid them whenever possible. But I like shapes and shadows and things. So I'm looking for interesting things like that. So and it's what I've had time to shoot, to be honest, with all the other stuff I got going on. So, but if I had to say what's my love would be I'd love to be back out shooting waterfalls. I I'm not any good at it, but I love it. And I would
Disagree with
love
that.
do what now?
I disagree with that. You
Well,
and Tim
I
have
mean,
to-
every
you-
once in a while I'll come away with one or two pictures that are okay, but I struggle with composition. And so, but I like the long exposure aspect of it. Whatever I'm doing, I like long exposure more than anything. So, and you don't do long exposure with urban photography unless you're doing light trails.
yeah.
Motion blur. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, that would be me. And right now, I don't know when I'm going to get back to doing anything other than just taking a walk somewhere and trying to shoot some pictures
I can answer that.
downtown or whatever.
I can answer that next week.
Saturday?
Next week.
In 48 hours. I'll be down there. I think I think you have two genres that you levitate to. You always do, I think. If one of them's not going to work out for you, like you said long exposure versus urban. you can make them work separately, not necessarily together. So that's like two favorite things, that you like to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no, waterfalls is probably just a minor, but I've seen your photography, and you do levitate to the long exposures a lot. So,
Yeah.
and I think long exposure is great photography.
I
When
love long
I look
exposure.
at the YouTube videos by somebody like Gary Goff,
Yeah.
who rubs me the wrong way on a personal basis because he's just so full of himself. But his photography is phenomenal. And he does this real minimal, long exposure, black and white, kind of fine art stuff at the ocean.
He makes the
That kind
horizon
of that
disappear.
yeah, that kind of photography I would love to do a whole lot more of. It's just not a lot of places to do that here.
Didn't
Yeah.
you take a workshop with him?
No, I was going to. I thought about it. He was
Okay.
going to do one on the Isle of Skye that I thought about going to, but I opted not to.
Who's next?
I'll go. Yeah, mine's pretty evident. It's going to be something with a old stick here. It's going to be urban photography, and I roll in urban decay and like uh, like Tim said, playing with light and shadow and shapes and leading lines in the city. And if a person wanders through the frame, I use them for scale, but the image is typically about the landscape than the person. The person just is a part of the landscape. And I do some documentary kind of stuff. Like I like to get the photos of the buildings as they decay and see it over time. That's one of the reasons I go through the hard drives periodically. I'll look at buildings from 6 or 8 years ago and see what they look like now compared. And some of the buildings are just gone. I've
Yeah.
got photos of
Wow.
buildings that don't exist anymore. And it's interesting to me to see that. But yeah, that's a good point. And my interest has shifted over time. When it started out, I got my cameras to photograph like family events and things. I kind of think a lot of people get into it starting there, and then they kind of fall in love with the whole thing, and then they want, well, hey, I kind of like taking pictures of these buildings, and it evolves. But I started trying to do street photography, and it just ain't me. Now, we shot that main X-24 parade last Saturday, me and Ray did, and it's such a target rich environment that
Yeah.
the whole anxiety of photographing people just vanishes. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
you're surrounded by a crowd of people who thrive on having their photos taken.
This is
Yeah.
an
See, and
event.
that's the kind of photography that Ray does. That he's used to taking pictures of people that want their picture made without having to ask.
Yeah.
He takes pictures at sporting events and crowded areas. That's why that earlier point that you made, he doesn't like to go up and ask. He
You don't
normally
have
doesn't
to.
have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Good
So
point.
what are you known for, and what is your favorite? Are they the same thing?
Urban photography, and it is my favorite.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
What about
All right,
you,
Ron.
Mister?
Mine would be landscape photography, and that's what I'm known for, and that's what I levitate to, and my favorite. Wildlife photography or bird photography is a fill-in. Okay, if I can't do landscape photography, then I can do bird photography. What I like about landscape photography, I love the early mornings. I love being by myself. I love to immerse yourself in the scene. It could be nature, it could be a sunrise at a barn, uh, just whatever. But to me, that video I did last summer, the barn one that I did in the morning, that one where I did the teaching part,
Mm-hmm.
that's me. That was actually me. That was
That
me.
was a cool video.
That was
Mm-hmm.
not made up or anything. I just put the iPhone, Tim, I put the iPhone on the tripod, stuck it over by the car, put on the Rode Wireless Go 2s, and went at it. Okay, and the whole time I was pacing, talking, looking at my camera, and telling everybody what I was doing. That was me. That was what I was thinking at the time, and it was pretty raw there. But the wildlife is not as important to me, and that that hits me in the head a lot at home. Okay, here I got these two cameras here, the Z8 and the D500, and I'm thinking to myself, what did I do? I'm just a stick bird photographer. Phil's been with me, him and Heather been with me. I struggle with birds in flight. I'm just not good at it. Okay.
Dude,
Uh,
me and you both.
I'm not good at it. Now, wildlife, you stick me in Cades Cove with a deer or a bear, I'm perfectly fine with that. But with birds flying and stuff, that's just not me. And I know I've been to Hiawassee before, and I know a lot of people eat that up. It's maybe an adrenaline thing or whatever. But when I'm not good at something, I just kind of put my stuff up and go home. Yeah, basically.
You know
So
what
the
I end
wild,
up doing? I end up getting out my 50 and photographing the photographers.
well, that's a good one. Yeah, landscape is me all the way, and I still thrive for that. I'm looking to do a lot more of that next year.
Nice.
Bill,
Well, I'm definitely known the most for bird photography, and I don't want to sound like I don't love bird photography because I do. If I get a bird in the frame and its head's pointing the right way and the light's on it good, and I get that eye sharp, it still gives me an adrenaline rush every time. But man, I love landscape photography. I just do. But the thing about landscape photography is it's hard from you know, I can do birds on my back porch if I got some bird seed and a blind and some sticks.
yeah,
For landscape photography, they're not going to move the Canadian Rockies to my back porch. They're just not.
no, but you got some beautiful
Um,
shots from up there.
Man, I
Yeah.
loved it up there. Gosh, that was so fun. And like the ocean's not going to be on my back porch and stuff like that. So
Phil,
I love
Phil, Phil,
landscape
Phil.
photography.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
I just got to bring this up. Those low light photos you done at Disney a couple years ago, dude, those were incredible.
Yeah, they were.
Dude, it blew my mind how good them images came out when you got back home and made those videos. You
Those were
have you
handheld.
Oh dude, you have a gift for landscape. You can just see it.
But that's I want to bring something up. Him shooting at Disney like that is very typical of landscape photography. He has visited Disney so many times, he knows where he's going. Okay.
Hmm.
He knows what he's going to do before he gets there. And it's the same with landscapes. You have to repeat yourself. You have to go back over and over and over again because I guarantee you the first time you go, you won't capture what you were trying to capture.
Hmm.
I mean, I've got a barn that's 5 minutes from my house, and the first thing I do when I'm off, I wake up in the morning and open up the back blinds on the east and see what the sun's doing. And if the clouds are there, I'm out the door. Okay. I mean, I can get out the door in 5 minutes. I don't even take a shower or nothing. I just put my clothes on and go. And I'll be standing out in the middle of the road out there shooting the barn picture. So yeah, being like that, you have to repetitive. You have to keep going back and back. It's the same with waterfalls.
Hmm.
It's never the same two different times. It's always different.
Anybody else got any questions?
I do. I just have two short ones. Okay. And this is a group
Okay.
thing. What I first would like to know is how much serious thought, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but how much serious thought have you given to your backup strategy of your files?
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Phil, because the other guys are zero.
Not enough, not nearly enough. I have a solid state drive, 2 terabyte that I import my photos to, and I edit them on it because it's fast. And when it gets full, I take that whole 2 terabytes and I copy it over to a $99 5 terabyte drive. And I can do that 2.5 times. And then I take that 5 terabyte drive and I throw it over there in the cabinet and buy another $99 5 terabyte drive and rinse and repeat. I have one copy on a totally, totally crappy storage device. That's my backup. And it definitely needs to improve. But so far it hasn't, and I don't see it improving in the future.
So you don't go on that 5 terabyte drive that's over there in the cabinet. You don't go back to it trying to pull up a picture you took 4 or 5 years ago. You don't care about
Nope,
that. You
I
don't
make
care
me a
about
new
that.
one.
Okay, you just go on. You just go on into the future. You don't look into the past.
I just make me another one. I mean, every once in a while, I like one enough to upload it to Fine Art America or whatever.
Right.
Like that picture I made in California, I put up there, and one of the pictures of the mountains I put up there, of the Rocky Mountains I put up there. But
Yeah.
mostly, I'll just make another one.
Yeah. I asked that question because this really hit me hard here recently, last couple of weeks. I have a network attached storage at the house. It's a 10 terabyte with a 10 terabyte mirror in it. It's a 2 bay. It's a NAS. It's called a NAS. It
Yeah.
runs on it runs on Ethernet through your router. You can access it from anywhere in the house. I can access it online. I can access it from my phone at work if I want to and get pictures off of there. You know, I don't do that, but my NAS, all of this, I wasn't paying attention. Okay.
Oh,
I was doing all my video work, all my photography work on the NAS, and my NAS filled up. Okay. I filled up 10 terabytes and I got a beep. One day I was sitting here, it usually sits right over there. And one day I was sitting here and the damn thing started beeping. I thought, what the hell? Well, I can't access the management software from a Mac. I had to go over to my PC on my old notebook and get on there to see what it was. And it had a big red thing that said it's unhealthy. I said, oh God, I lost everything. No, it was unhealthy because it was full. I thought, okay,
I know
now
that feeling.
this is ridiculous. Okay. I would have never filled that up if I hadn't started doing videos 2 years ago. Okay. And I started looking at my video files. I kept every single one of them. Okay. I've got 4 channels. I got 4 YouTube channels. And I started
more
looking
than
at yeah, I know. I have, yeah, I have 3 of them are monetized. Okay.
Wow.
One of them's not. And my work channel is phenomenal. Okay. It grew like what, Tim, we watched it grow last week by what, 1,500 subscribers in 2 days.
Yeah, it just
Wow.
took off.
That's the one that had the 78,000 view. Oh, no, that was my, yeah,
That was your retirement groove.
that was a retirement groove channel that did that. It went up 1,500 subscribers. And I told Tim, I said, what happened here? He said, you hit a nerve. Yeah, there was like 400 comments and 500 likes, and some of them were chastising me, some of them were for me. It's kind of funny going back and forth. I only had to, out of all them comments, I only had to delete like 2. But anyways, I got to looking at all that, and I says, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. I was going to upgrade the drives. I was going to buy 2 14 terabytes and upgrade it, swap them out. And I had them. I actually had the drives here. Well, one of them failed out of the box, and I sent them back to Western Seagate, and I said, just give me my money back, okay? I paid $500 for 2 drives, okay? And I said, this is crazy. I started looking at what I had. I had like 6 terabytes in video files, 4 terabytes in photographs. So what I did is I started moving stuff around, and I deleted all my video file source, but not the posted video. So in other words, I use Adobe Premiere Elements, and it creates a catalog file and a bunch of other baggage with it in the folder. And then you have thumbnails and you might have some different things, but a lot of video files you put together to make one. So I just started going through each folder and getting rid of the production files and only keeping the one I posted, because if something happens, my YouTube channel gets hacked or YouTube gets a bug up their ass and gets rid of my channel for some reason, I still have the original video files that I can repost and the thumbnail that goes with it. That's the 2 things you got to keep. So when I did that, I relieved almost 4 terabytes. I had 4 terabytes of baggage, okay, that I didn't need to keep. And I probably got about 500 videos, So I was just curious because I had never thought seriously about my backup strategy till I thought maybe I might have lost everything. When it started beeping on me, I thought, oh shit, I'm done, And now what I'm doing, I'm actually working through my Lightroom catalog now. I've got 74,000 images in there, and I know I don't have 74,000 keepers. Okay. I've always been under the philosophy of this, especially to the camera club members. I tell them, look, if the highlights are blown, it's out of focus, just get rid of it. Okay. Because it's not going to get any better sitting on the computer by itself. Okay. Just get rid of it. No need to keep it. So that's what I'm trying to do now. And I was curious if you guys had any thoughts to your backup strategy before, you know. Yes, Phil.
I
For
have,
me, I've
go.
never taken mine seriously enough to worry about it. So,
Yeah.
it's not unusual for me to go back a couple of years and just delete everything. I just don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Pictures, videos, the Life in Motion Diaries videos that I've done this year, I've deleted everything from there within about 3 days of posting the video. It's just all gone because I have no use for it again. I have not done that with the New Retired Me channel or the photography channel, but I did with that one. But I think if I went back through like you're talking about, and most of my file storage now is video. It's not photography. And I could free up a lot of space if I just got rid of the source files and just kept the finished product.
Yeah, because
It was a stupid move on my part on the Life in Motion Diaries channel, because now I would like to go in to those finished videos and make sort of a one montage video for the New Retired Me channel of my trip to Rome and Florence. I don't have those files. They're gone.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. You know. Well, the last question I have is this. Okay. David had kind of hit me up with an idea, and I didn't pursue it all the way because I wanted to see how you guys felt about it first. I enjoyed this, and I think we should do it again sometime. I don't know how you all feel about it, but I thought it was fun. And
Yeah, it was fun.
it's good to get together, just talk about stuff and different things. But I wanted to do a live stream with this through OBS, and I didn't do that. But if you ever had any negative thoughts about that, let me know now, because I may consider doing it in the future, just to do it as a live stream and have it so we have. I don't know how it would work comments wise, but I know that Hudson Henry does it with his guys on Zoom, and they do live streams with theirs. But the other question would be, do you have anybody that you think would be interested in coming on here and doing it with us? Okay, like Ray or whoever. I don't have anybody because I don't have any friends up here. So.
I don't have
I
anybody
think
either because I don't basically like people.
I mean, I don't know if anybody would be
I
interested.
think Ray would be. I think Ray would be real interesting, but I don't know if he'd want to do it. He's kind of he doesn't like to be in front of the camera. He likes to hold the camera. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure, but he would be very interesting if we could talk him into it.
somebody hit him up down there and ask him one time, or talk him up and see. I tried that with Dan Williams. I really, really, I'm big about. I'm getting into these interviews now. I like to interview people. I interviewed a guy. Well, Tim and I did. We interviewed the guy at the barbecue place. They caught
Yeah.
them off guard, but they agreed to it. The father and the son. And I actually got interviewed by a channel from Delaware while they were at the property where I work, and he interviewed me for an hour about my job, and posted it,
Wow.
and posted it, and it was unscripted. He asked me before we started. His wife was the camera operator, and he asked me before we started. He said, "Do you want to know what the questions are?" I said, "No." I says, if I can't answer them, I'll just tell you I can't answer them. And he had a lot of interesting questions to me, and it was really interesting because it was very spontaneous. He had asked the question, and I would sit there and think about it for a second. And I said, well, and the answer was spontaneous. So it was a good interview. And I think, that would be pretty cool. I tried to get Dan Williams to do it. And this is his response to me was when he retired, he left all that stuff behind him. He just wants to shoot for fun now. So I would have loved to interview him and ask him everything. I would love to know the history behind him, his art shows that he used to go to, how much they used to cost, all that stuff, because I'm sure he had a ton of stories, but he didn't want to do it, you know.
He's
Well,
awesome.
yeah, he is. He is. Have you seen him lately?
Yeah, I saw him Thursday.
Was he
At
down there?
the-
He'll be
yeah.
there all winter. He'll be there till February.
Yeah. Yeah, he was there, and a guy named Bram, Braam Hostetter or something like that. He was shooting panning blurs of birds in flight. I said, "Oh shit, I got to try that." 1/40th of a second. Here we come.
Blurry pictures abound.
Did you get any keepers from that?
Yeah, I got one. I posted it, and the wings are just about completely blurred, and the background as I'm panning is blurred. But lots and lots of shots.
Yeah.
One of them, the eye was pretty close to sharp. Oh, there I go, making my hand in focus.
Let me see. Let me see if I can get mine to do that. Wait a minute. Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can't. I
Apparently
turned
mine's
mine
not
on manual focus because I got, the Z50 has this idea where it likes to hunt. And it
Yeah.
just it gets on my nerves. So I just turn
Yeah.
the focus off. That's why you see me dialing it manually.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm going to end this and then we'll talk for just a second. Well, guys, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again someday.
Mm-hmm.
And hope everybody else enjoyed it. We'll talk to y'all later.